And I will tell you, ladies, it's, for example, my family is from Russia. Your family is from Cuba. Some of you are from Poland, Spain, and United States. Our ancestors had a hard life. They had to survive. Women had to be masculine. But if we look around right now, we're not surviving life. We can live. And because we can live now, because there's plenty of food, there's no war in our country, we can allow ourselves to start shifting back to being a feminine woman. And when we're feminine woman, we can finally start breathing and experiencing life. But because we are bringing the energy of peace, calm, harmony, happiness, love to our relationships and home when we're in the feminine energy. When we're in the masculine, we are anxious and stressed. And when we're anxious and stressed, men are anxious and stressed because they're feeding off our energy and our kids. And so somebody has to be responsible to start shifting to femininity. And who is responsible is you, because you're on this call, you're in this group. And we want to be a husband, ex-husband, mom, you be responsible. But it doesn't work this way. You are in this journey. And that means you will be transforming yourself first. And then by your energy, you will start transforming everyone around you. Oh, such a beautiful ladies. I just want to acknowledge you for being here. I'm so moved to seeing your vulnerable stories and your share. But now what I would like for us to do is to start thinking about what we want to acknowledge, what happened this year. And some of you might go to the places of breakdowns. But if we look at the Vedic knowledge, yogi knowledge, that is 5,000 years old, the Vedic knowledge says that no matter what pain we go through in life, even if it's a hardship or pain or divorce or breakup or bankruptcy, even toxic relationship that you, Stephanie Kristen, mentioned, we're all experiencing that in order to grow. And so we gotta acknowledge even pain. Because I will be honest with you, I've gone through a really painful relationship in my late 20s where my boyfriend cheated with my girlfriend, but thanks to him, because I've gone through such a heartbreak, I started my spiritual journey. I started being inquired about it. And I started inquiring about femininity. And so now looking back, even though it was over 15 years, I acknowledge even him. Even though he put me through so much pain, but I needed that pain in order to be who I am now. If I look back at my physically, emotionally, verbally abusive mother, I am grateful to her, because if I didn't have a mother like that, I definitely wouldn't be empathic, compassionate, and being a counselor, hypnotherapist, and a life coach for over 20 years. I wouldn't be the person that I am now. And so it's easy to just blame and say, oh, why I got this boyfriend, or why I got this mother, or why I got this father. But we need to start reflecting, because of that pain, we are who we are today. And so I would like for you to reflect on just this year. If you would like, you can acknowledge something else. And acknowledge Creator for how you grew this year. What happened to you? What beautiful things start to happen? And I want to share that this year, thanks to Creator, I was able to travel to so many countries. I was able to do 2 amazing retreats in Turkey. And I was able to connect to 2 projects in Africa that I'm so moved, in Kenya and South Africa. So by the way, all of the money from the programs that you will be paying later, it will go fully to these projects in South Africa and Kenya. I don't know why, but I feel like back maybe in a last life I was either Kenyan or African. I don't know, because my heart is there. I love wildlife. I love kids. I like women. I love everything about Kenya, Tanzania, South Africa, and Zimbabwe. I just love it. I am very, very grateful to all of the people that I've met, to all of the ladies that have been in this program. and to continue to grow in your feminine energy and being true to myself, sharing what I'm born to do. Some spiritual knowledge, some psychological, and some feminine knowledge. So I'm just very grateful to Creator and everything He brought, my husband, our son, and you beautiful ladies and beautiful friends that I've met this year. So who wants to share? What are you getting from this year or from your life? Not from the space of something is wrong, but something that is beautiful that is happening in your life. Who wants to share?
Start. I would say that I could 100% see what you're saying, because I was married for 17 years to an amazing man. And I was the masculine woman. And I had actually cheated on him. And we got divorced. And it took this toxic man that I'm with, that I married, to appreciate what I had. Because when I went into this relationship, I tried to become the feminine woman and fix all the things that I knew I did wrong. And I think it's taking this toxic man, because I have this other man that I met that's the most amazing person on earth, that is very respectful towards women. Like, he doesn't even want to have sex because he wants to fall in love with my mind and my heart. I mean, he's just a very religious man and just respects women. But I wouldn't have appreciated him if I wasn't going through this toxic stuff. So, like, I see where you just, I'm grateful for the things that I've learned from this. I just need to learn to stay away from him, the ex.
Got it. Thank you, Kristen. Thank you for sharing. Who else would like to share? What do you want to acknowledge this year, or some of your experiences? Because when we are acknowledging, when we have this sense of gratitude to where we are, we're attracting more of what we have and acknowledging. But if we are complaining to what we don't like, we're attracting more of that. Because everything, all your thoughts and everything that you share, it's not just going anywhere. It all has energy and all has vibration. And Creator hears it. We are hearing, our soul is hearing it. And everyone in this group is hearing it, right? So what do you want to acknowledge?
I can go. I think for 2023, I just want to acknowledge the growth and transformation I've experienced. I am at that, I've shifted to be grateful for all the pain, because with pain, you see what you don't want and you just redirect yourself to what you do want. So that is my mindset with pain. But it brings me, even with femininity, I remember one in the last classes you were talking about appreciation and acknowledgement towards men. And I remember asking, how many times am I supposed to thank a guy if he opens the door for me, does this? Like, how many times do I say thank you? Like, it just doesn't make sense. And I remember you telling me, not that it didn't make sense, it was just like, I'll be like, thank you for opening the door, thank you for this. And then you were like, Sarah, that's your pride. But implementing that when you actually date, it goes a long way and you receive so much more. So just the shift in that, but just the transformation in my mindset and the growth is what I really want to acknowledge of the past year.
Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, appreciate that.
I'll go.
Go, Samantha.
So 2023, what I acknowledge is, like you were sharing, like, of course, I've learned a lot in relationships and my dynamic with men, which is what brought me here in the first place. I grew up with parents that did the opposite role. I had a very nurturing, kind dad and much more go out and get it kind of mother. And so, but this year it was a hardship disguised as a blessing. I was with an older woman that I was living with, and as I was taking my feminine journey, I could watch her. She was watching me, and she was certainly not feminine by any means. And she was kind of following my lead, and we were growing in that way. And she had an older sister, that in bad health came to live with her. And not to be too dramatic, but this older sister had a husband, and she isn't quite all the way there. And she was convinced I was trying to steal her 75-year-old husband. And so basically, she framed to my friend who I was living with that I need to leave. And my friend said yes. And I was asked to leave this home that I had been in with my daughter. And of course, like, I was brokenhearted, let's be honest. She was my friend. But what has happened since I was asked, like, it was such a blessing. There were a lot of things of that aspect that weren't the best for me, but I wasn't going to really shift or leave because it was a safety net. And honestly, I had never like stayed in my own power and kind of stood up for myself so strongly before. And even though I was standing in my own power and standing up for myself and still got asked to leave, there was this sense of self-love that I just hadn't, that again, I traded safety for faith. And it's been a huge blessing. So that is again, I need to learn safety for faith.
And it's more of a safety for happiness. Safety is not just faith. You left and you can start blossoming. Other doors can open up. But the safety keeps you small in the box. And that's what you're trading, safety. It's not just faith. It's your happiness. It's your aliveness. It's your freedom. It's endless possibilities. And that was toxic. And it was keeping you small.
It also helped me really realize that when you're in your masculine energy, you are valued for what you do, yes, what you can do, what you can give.
Yes.
And that's a big one that I get stuck in. And again, that I wouldn't have recognized how much I was being in, like, basically femininity, you're valued for who you are, not what you do for people.
Yes.
And that, again, that situation, it's a big eye-opener for me.
Yes. Oh, beautiful. Thank you, Samantha, for sharing. Who else would like to share? What do you want to acknowledge? 2023.
I think 2023, even though I had been working on, becoming more feminine and stuff probably since really diving into it since 2022, maybe even part of 2021, I think it highlighted how I was still trying to over control certain things. And I think I can be a little bit of an avoidant kind of attachment type where if there's something wrong going on, I just like avoid it, or I'll just kind of be cold and cut off people very easily. So there were things going on that came up, which is interesting because I was pregnant. There were lots of arguments coming up with my mom. And just her and there's certain areas where she was very controlling and I would always judge her. Meanwhile, I think I brought it up in a group. There was a property that I was really holding on to, that I really needed to sell. There were so many, even though it was profitable, there were so many issues with the people that were living there that I was like, I need to let this go. But there was a sort of control that I was still holding on to. And it finally hit me, like, it's easy to look on the outside and be like, oh, my mom's so controlling, controlling of this and that. And some drama came up before my baby shower, which it was a beautiful baby shower. And Sarah, I was so happy to have Sarah come too. But there was a lot of drama leading up to it because of, some controlling ways. And it just kind of hit me like, oh, I'm dealing with all of this drama with my mom because I still have a lot of controlling tendencies that I haven't dealt with. And I think it was just very synchronistic to leading up to me becoming a mom. So we finally sold that property and I don't have to deal with it anymore. So that was a big kind of like revelation of, okay, yeah, I really need to I was letting go of other things, but not necessarily of everything. So I think that was my lesson for 2023, for sure.
Wow, Gabriela. I am so thrilled to hear that you let go of that property. It was such a big bubble over you. to hold on to it. Property, possibility for money, making investment, making something out of it. But the moment you let go, you're free. You're free. And so I want to acknowledge you. Beautiful. Thank you, Gabriela. And seeing also how you can be controlling and not just your mom, right? Who else would like to share? What do you want to acknowledge 2023? And by the way, I've noticed we have Dana, but she left. Okay, maybe she'll come back. So, so who would like to share? What would you like to acknowledge 2023?
I'll go. I think for me, I learned just how much I wasn't accepting everyone for like who they are. I do have expectations, I guess, for like the people that I put in my life, and I wasn't giving them like enough space to just be themselves. And I learned that through like having to deal with my ex and him, and realizing like, okay, this is just who you are kind of thing, and not taking it personally, you know. And that's helped a lot with just where I've moved to, and you know what I'm doing now, and just not taking people personally, whether they're a stranger or someone like in my intimate circle. I just realized that my life is just too big, and I can focus on that rather than how they're choosing to show up today. And that's helped a lot. I don't know. In some ways, I feel like I've grown. In other ways, I feel like I haven't. But my friends just always say that I'm very critical of myself. So I don't really know how to balance that, because I am. So with my marriage not working out, I've been very critical of myself, and not necessarily like even my ex or my family or anything leading up to that. It's mostly always about me, really. So just working through those feelings, I think, still. But yeah, that's what I learned this year.
So, judging and criticizing yourself is something that you're still working on. And if I can put in something with you, Ayana, what's lacking is compassion and love. And as you mentioned, you are going now to Muslim classes, Islam classes, right? Once you're going to start feeling the authentic love towards Allah, you're going to start feeling the same love later towards yourself. And that's what's missing right now. But if we're intellectually loving Creator, we will not feel the same love towards ourselves. And that's just, I see right now what's missing. If you go to classes learning intellectually and not opening your heart to Creator, you're going to be doing the same thing towards yourself. So if you can, just try to start opening your soul. He's not dangerous. He just loves you, right? And if you can trust him and love him full-heartedly, you're going to start bringing the same love towards yourself. Because you're incredible. You're beautiful. And you deserve love. And this love starts first with you, loving you. Once you love yourself, you can love others, and they can love you back the same way. So thank you for sharing. Just wanted to put that there. So, who else would like to share?
Maybe I will try.
Thank you, Monica.
2023. A month, maybe no, 4 months ago, I moved out of the house. A month ago, I came back. I had never thought that I would be able to do that. That was a very big step. And I tried to meditate. I tried to pray. I wasn't in 100% successful at that time, but my idea was to separate and work on myself almost all the time. So I am grateful for that I made this step that I was always afraid to do. I think maybe there is some improvement, but in the areas that I wouldn't expect. It's not yet in the relationship. However, the friends that are around me, they are amazing. I never thought that I have such supportive friends. I could live with my friend for those 3 months. She's amazing. She went through a lot of things. Now she's building up her relationship, and she understands how hard it was for me. And I really, really appreciate it. I love the way she treated me. She said, "You can stay here as much as you want." That was really, really beautiful. So I really acknowledge my friends.
Monica, it's beautiful how Creator opens the door for you as you started your journey to yourself, that here He opens the door to your community, your friends. And that's how He shows His love to you, His love to you, through your friend who tells you, you can stay here as much as you'd like.
True.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing and acknowledging that. Because we cannot have everything that we want in life all at the same time. Only Creator knows what at this moment you need. Maybe you need this friend to help you to go through this. Maybe you need a toxic partner to go through pain to realize, no, you shouldn't be in this relationship, and you have to build your self-esteem in order to appreciate a next amazing man. Only Creator knows, and He sends us only the best things, even though in the moment we think, oh my God, this is the worst person. I'm in the worst situation. But in the reality, it's the way it should be. It's just we're battling, constantly battling, instead of surrendering that this is right now experience that we gotta go through. So I want to acknowledge you. Thank you for sharing your experience and acknowledgement of your friend. Go.
Okay. In 2023, I realized I didn't love myself enough. And I think that is a big deal, because if you don't love yourself enough, such as you deserve, other areas in your life, it doesn't work. And I have started to learn to love to me, and pretending other areas are improving if I focus the love to me. That's I learned in 2023.
Thank you. Thank you, Oti, for being vulnerable and share what's lacking is self-love. Yeah. Appreciate it. Who else would like to acknowledge? What would you like to thank 2023 for?
Maybe I'm ready now.
Go, Edith.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Where are you from, Edith? Where you live? And what do you want to acknowledge 2023?
Okay, so my name is Edith Nyambura, and I'm from Kenya, Nairobi. And I think 2023 I really didn't understand what was going on. I think it's more of I've been trying to search where do I belong, who am I am totally confused. I did not go through so much like traumatic experiences or anything, not really, not this time, but 2020 was that time for me. My 2023 has been more of finding myself, like I really do not know, I don't know what I want, who am I, where am I, what do I want. So self-love, like what is this about self-love? What do we mean? And then I searched in myself and I said, I've always wanted to be in a relationship, but when I look at myself at this particular time, I cannot sustain a relationship. So I'm done with thinking about relationships at this particular moment. I just want to know, what can I do to make myself happier? So that is what 2023 has taught, finding myself and knowing where I belong, who do I belong, what can I do? Also, like financially, because it's been very tough, like financially, I need to find something that I can actually do effortlessly. So for me in 2024, I'm looking forward to like finding some way I can make my finance, like, how do you say it, like ends meet with something I can do effortlessly without having to drain myself and to do, like to put myself in such a masculine energy. So I've been trying to soul search and find myself. So I'm totally lost. I'm totally lost. I don't know where I belong. Yeah.
Edith, thank you. Thank you. Seeing your beautiful smile all the way from Kenya moves my heart, because, by the way, I'll be in South Africa in just 3 weeks. I wish I could be in Kenya, but I'm heading to South Africa. I needed too many vaccines to go to Kenya, but I'll make it. Probably in April, I'm invited to lead a big convention in Kenya, so I'm trying to work out the dates to see if I'll be able to make it. But I hear that you are struggling to figure out where you are. And consider, struggling to find where you are, it's also the space of masculine energy. A feminine woman, when she connects to spirituality, you calm down your mind, you connect to your soul and your intuition, you just flow. All of this confusion is still masculine, because masculine thought process is analysis. What I need to do, how can I make money, who, why, where, what. All of that comes down through our spiritual practices. So the more you connect, whether prayer, affirmation, or meditation, you start to connect to your soul. Your soul starts to guide you. I'm really great at art, you're going to start drawing. You're really good at speaking, you're going to start speaking and getting more engaged in speaking, right? And that's where all the answers inside your soul. Not here, right there. So just giving you a little tip here. But you're trying to analyze what I'm saying, and that's going back to head. Head is not interested for you to flow and to be feminine and to just gracefully be who you are. All the talents already you have, ladies. I was flying with Oti from Madrid to New York. She sent a text. She shows me her vegan shoes and it makes my soul smile. That's who she is. The most beautiful vegan shoes. I was like, wow. And she's sitting right next to me. I still feel embarrassed that I didn't have a chance to purchase it, because I need to figure out the size. And this is who you are, ladies. All the answers are within you. Create a gift that's already talents and gifts. And if you're trying to analyze it, that means you are not connecting to yourself. Do you get it? Thank you for the heart. Yeah, it's very simple. Calm this down. And how can you calm this down? Connecting to your faith, your prayer, your meditation or affirmation. You don't know anything. That's why I'm going to start inviting spiritual gurus that I know. They'll give you much more than I can. I can share more about relationship and femininity, but spirituality, I'm not expert. I'm going to invite people that I've been listening, who've been helping me. And if you're going to follow what they're doing in your own faith, you're going to get the results. Even though they're yogis, they're Vedics, but they're still going to inspire your heart to follow your faith, whether you're Christian, whether you're Muslim, whether you're Buddhist. But if we're not doing anything, we're just constantly trying to figure it out, we're going to be bankrupt. We're going to be swimming against the current, because mind is interested for us to survive, but not to be happy, not to be alive, not to be feminine, not to make a relationship work. It's all fear-based. Here is fear. Here is harmony, being alive, being feminine, being gentle, being soft, flow. Does this make sense? Thank you.
I do have a question, actually. Something I've been thinking about more recently, now that baby is here, is I've definitely noticed, as far as like my relationship, where I mean, I know that it's very early on. The baby's only been here for 5 weeks, but I'm definitely, and it's probably just natural, totally focused on the baby. Like sometimes I forget my husband David is around. You know? So in the sense that I haven't seen necessarily any problems arise because of that, but it's one of those things where like naturally I want to acknowledge him and know that, you know, have him know that I appreciate him and everything that he does for us. But I have noticed that I've probably been like, even when he's talking to me or telling me about his day, because now he's been kind of like going out and working on other projects during the day more, that I've been getting used to the little guy. So, you know, he'll come back home and just talk to me about his day, and I can like barely pay attention to him. Like even if the baby is fine and whatever, I just, you know, I feel the baby moving in my arms and I'm just like always looking at him and stuff, like where I feel like I'm not paying attention to him as much. So I guess my question is like, how do I, as a new mom, still acknowledge and appreciate my husband when I'm like totally drawn into the baby right now?
Thank you, Gabriela. Well, first of all, you even asking this question is already indicates that you are aware that this problem is already exists. And so consider you're already doing 20% forward, understanding that this is a problem. Because in a healthy environment, in ideal environment, how it's been for centuries, a mom gives a new birth and her mother helps out with the baby, or her sister, or his mom. There's a community who's helping with baby. And this way mom can rest, she can relax, and at the same time not just 100% give attention to the baby and give attention to the husband. This is ideal. But we are not living in an ideal situation. And so in your situation, you are a new mom. You just had a baby. You never had a baby before. And so with that, you just have to, which you're already doing, recognizing, even though when husband comes home, even though baby's fine, I'm not paying attention to him. And this is you already starting to see that, oh, baby's fine. Can I bring attention to him? Because he's still providing, he's still protecting, and he's still leading. And you being a mom and you already having a feminine, soft energy, because when mom does, being a mom, in the case when you're not working, you already bringing this femininity to a husband. But you do want at the same time acknowledge him. Acknowledge that, honey, it's so good to have you back. I'm so happy that I can be at home, take care of the baby while you're working. And you just want to keep appreciating and acknowledging him, because otherwise men during the stage will feel like they're fully abandoned. And that actually starts to hurt sometimes a young relationship, a young marriage. And so I want to acknowledge you for bringing this forward and give to your husband. He needs you still, because baby can take 100% right now. But even if you can give 20% to a husband, he will appreciate that, because he also understands that right now you're a new mom and he's a new dad. But you don't want to forget and start appreciating and acknowledging. As the baby gonna get bigger, he'll get naturally more attention. But right now, just put attention to, oh, David is still there, he's still working, and he's still providing and protecting. You're welcome, Gabriela.
I guess I have a question.
Yeah.
So if you are like in a healthy relationship with a man that's masculine and loving and wants the best for you and providing, and he's fun, but like everything's sort of just low key, like the dates is just like a really nice dinner, conversation's great. If those highs in the relationship are missing, is that important, or should you just not focus on that. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, that excitement. But everything else is so, the other side is just so peaceful and like, but I don't know, like, are you supposed to have them highs in a relationship?
I will explain something. I hear you, Kristen. Once you really commit 100% to spirituality and you really fully shift to femininity, I'll tell you, when our friends come over to our house, they say we're boring. I'll be honest with you. Because we don't have this ups and downs. It's like this. This past year was very challenging year for my husband. And I had to do even more spiritual work in order to help him to go through this, because his business partner died. And it was such a huge roller coaster in his work. He was not sharing the problems, but the moment he would walk into the house, I would feel like there's 10 tons of fear and resignation was coming home. And that means I took upon myself to do more spiritual work to go through this. But were this roller coaster of us fighting or going through this? Not at all. And so the ups and downs going through when we have an attachment to how things should be. You have expectations, for example, that he has to pay for dinner, he has to open the door, he has to pay for your tires, he has to take you to opera because you like that opera, he has to pay for your rent, hypothetically. When we have expectations and when we have attachments to those expectations, that's when we create subconsciously drama in our relationship. When we are not accepting something in our partner, he shouldn't be this way, he should be the other way. But I'll tell you something that might hurt you ladies, but it's the spiritual 5,000-year-old knowledge that anything and everything that you have currently in your life is that you've created it, attracted it, and deserve it. And this is so hard to be with, because then you'll think, how am I deserving this? You're deserving it in the sense to this being attracted to you so you can grow, so you can overcome this and become even better version of yourself. Only through hardship we can actually turn to spirituality, to Creator, in order to overcome the hardship. Otherwise, if everything is perfect, we're not even thinking about Creator. We're just going with life, distracting ourselves, dancing, TV, money, work, cars, purses, shoes, clothes, drinking, food, material things, and others. And so this ups and downs only goes from expectations and attachments to the things that our mind dictates. Otherwise, when you're surrendering to what is, there is no ups and downs. It's kind of like this. Does it make sense, Christine? Ladies, do you connect to what I'm sharing?
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, remember, I used to have life with a lot of highs and a lot of lows. Oh, was that exhausting? Very stressful and very exhausting, but otherwise we're bored.
Yeah.
Because peaceful life is boring, but it's really awesome. For me, it works now. But in my 20s, oh wow, the roller coaster was high. All the time, up and down. Even in my 30s, yeah. Now it's very, very harmonious.
I feel like you're a gift to me this year, because I love watching you and learning from you. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, years of learning and practicing. And I wouldn't be here if not those spiritual gurus that I will be inviting to our calls and all of the knowledge that I've been accumulating and practicing. Mainly, ladies, it's practicing. Because I can share my knowledge, but it's still gonna make only 5-10% of the difference at the most, because the rest is on you. How much are you willing to put the work of doing either meditation or the prayer or affirmation. That's where the juice is. That's where the transformations and your breakthroughs are. And I'm just going to be giving you some of the knowledge so you don't have to read 30 or 40 spiritual sacred books and inviting the spiritual gurus that will be sharing this knowledge. Otherwise, you'll be spending 10 years of reading a lot and going to a lot of retreats, spiritual retreats that you don't have to go to. But again, you can. They're amazing. I'll show you the shortcut. Who else? Who wants to share? Who wants to ask a question?
I just wanted to share, when you were saying that your friend said that you were boring, my daughter was like 2 years old and my sister was struggling with addiction with alcohol, and we were sitting there talking, and she basically said the same thing. She's like, Sam, your life's so boring. And that sat with me for quite some time, because I realized that we both grew up in the same house, and we grew up in this chaos that felt like comfort to us. And when I had my daughter, I had stepped out of that, and that's when I started meditating for the first time, and really, and so she's 8 now, my daughter. So this was years ago, and every time I notice that I'm bored, I just remind myself that peace. And just because I didn't grow up with that peace does not mean that it's uncomfortable, and I don't have to make waves just to feel comfortable.
Yeah. To me, it's a compliment when people saying you guys are so boring. I'm like, oh, great. Yeah. To me, it's not a bad thing at all. Yeah. Oh, so thank you, Samantha, for sharing. So, who has questions, ladies?
I have one.
Yeah.
He met someone who went on a date, and he confided that he has a previous gambling addiction. So I was like, oh, I didn't want to, judge him or anything like that. But in my head, I was like, So then we was going on a few more dates, and then he said that. I noticed that he was still betting on like a sports app, whatever, and he can sense that I'm unsure about him. So my question is, I haven't said anything because I don't want to like say anything just yet. But my question is, A, should I say something? 2, is a gambling addiction a red flag? Because clearly he still is betting, which means that he hasn't, I'm not sure if he's still addicted to it or not, but he's clearly still doing it. And when I asked him, did he go to therapy or like Gamblers Anonymous, he said no, he kind of off cold turkey. So I don't think he's actually got help. But I wanted to find out from you if you think that like a man having a gambling addiction, is that a red flag?
Because you're just dating a guy, it is your duty and it's your responsibility to check what are the red flags. And the gambling addiction, it's a big red flag. I would say if you are married and your husband is gambling, that's a different story. You got to do everything to help your husband to overcome that gambling addiction, not literally taking him to a therapist to fix him, but as you're praying and meditating, through you, Creator gonna start helping him. But because you're dating, why would you put so much energy into a person who has this huge red flag? Because if you're dating someone who has drug addiction or alcohol addiction or gambling addiction, these are big red flags. And we attract someone with those big addictions when we have something that we haven't overcome. That means you are deep inside, have some kind of insecurity. That's why you're attracting someone with this big addiction. So the reality, he is just showing you that you need to work on yourself in order to start attracting someone emotionally healthy. And so woman can never date just one guy. Especially if you're meeting someone who has drug addiction, serious alcohol addiction, or gambling addiction, and if you slept with the guy, you now feel emotionally, physically attached to him, and you start thinking, how can I fix this guy? But in reality, you're not engaged, you're not married, you gotta date as many guys as possible to see who is the best candidate for you. Because this one is already a huge red flag, is like showing you, and he's playing, gambling in front of you, and deep in your heart, you already know that this is a big problem. And so my big question to you, I hope you did not sleep with him. And if you haven't slept with him, start dating as many guys as possible so you can move on. And
we have the same friends. So I think because he knows I'm unsure about him, I think he's got the picture. But what was I going to say? Yeah, I know it's a red flag in my heart, but because I've heard from people that, okay, Stefan, you're 29, you've got to settle.
No.
You know, I'm just thinking, okay, maybe I should be realistic and like settle and just.
No, you can rush this process and settle at 29 or 30 instead of waiting for 2-3 years and finding the right guy who will be sent to you by creator, and that will be a completely different marriage, completely different relationship, because in this 2-3 years you can grow spiritual and become so feminine and soft that you can attract someone emotionally healthy who is a leader, provider, and protector, who will be the best version of a boyfriend and a fiance and a husband. But with this one, you're already settling to a relationship that is not 50% chance gonna fail, 80% chance it's gonna fail, and the later it's gonna be 90% chance fail, and then you're like, you know what, I am done. He's stealing my money in order to go gambling, and that will be really exhausting. And that's not that he's a bad person. He is there to show you that you need to grow. Something is there with you that you need to overcome, and I don't know whether, again, it's a masculine and feminine energy, it's your insecurity or something else, because we are attract only people who are reflecting us.
Right.
You're feminine. So
how can I find that out? Is that via prayer, meditation, like you said, like, because I'm not maybe it is an insecurity thing, probably, but I need to think about it in depth, and like, so I'm just trying to figure out how I can find out what the issue is within me so I can change it.
You know what, if we're digging through ourselves trying to figure out, oh, I have insecurity or low self-esteem, or maybe I have addiction or something else, I mean, you're gonna be going and analyzing yourself, you're gonna be digging a big dark hole. Instead, just surrender to creator and start. You can choose. If you're a beginner, just affirmation. It's a little bit advanced, you can do the prayer. If you're more advanced, you can do a meditation. Again, whatever is your comfort zone and also in your faith that you feel comfortable, and just start doing that. And the way creator works, I had no idea that I had so much control issue, like Gabriella was sharing. My mom was controlling, I didn't know that I was controlling. And then as I started to do more and more, first it was affirmation, then it was prayer, and then it was meditation, my husband started telling me, oh my God, thank you so much for just trusting me, and thank you so much for just accepting me the way I am. I'm like, what do you mean, honey? Is that you used to be so controlling? And I'm like, oh wow, I got it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah, and so whatever that it is that isn't within you, you don't even need to analyze it. You don't even need to go to therapy. The truth is, the last few years of my work, when I start sharing with my clients how to do right meditation, prayer or affirmation, and they start getting better in 2-3 months, I realize, wow, why therapists are still existing if people can get better on their own through all of the spiritual practices. And I became bankrupt. I stopped believing in the work of therapy because creator is the best doctor. He knows the best thing what we need, really. Yes, sometimes a therapist can shine the light on us to say, well, we can help with this, but it can go really fast if you take full responsibility for yourself and your happiness and do the work, really. I've been in therapy myself for 5 years in my 20s. Honestly, I got 20% results, maybe 30 at the most.
Wow.
70 and 100. I got through all doing 10 years meditation, prayer, and affirmation. I was still controlling after I've done all the therapy. I was still insecure even though I've gone through therapy myself. I was still harsh and masculine. Because the therapists that we're gonna even attract, most of the therapists, that doesn't matter, women are in their head. They're not spiritual, they're not feminine, so they're gonna give only where they are. And that's why I'm gonna invite gurus, because I know about spirituality maybe 1 or 2%, when they know 99 to 100%. There's a big difference. I can only give where I am. I cannot help you transform your relationship with money because I'm bad with money, but I can help you to be feminine and make your relationship with a husband or boyfriend work, or do the dating, because I already have transformation in that arena. But in the spirituality, I know some that I can share, but the most I will be inviting people who are experts in the field. And I promise you, if you're gonna watch some of my YouTube videos where I guide you through meditation, you can start with that. Or you can just do the affirmation that, for example, I wish everyone happiness. Or you can do the affirmation, I forgive you, I love you, I accept you. If you can do that, and please forgive me, if you can do that affirmation, you're gonna get so much results because you are forgiving and love and accepting yourself. And when you accept and love and forgive others and yourself, you love others. You're starting to open up and you start to heal your wounds, because as a woman, when we go through traumas and pain, the pain is big in the beginning like this, but then over time it's still there, but it becomes small and hard, and it stays in our soul or other parts of our body. And through affirmation, meditation, or prayer, it becomes again soft, big, like cloud. And then as you continue to meditate or pray, it slowly starts to leave you. And when it starts to leave you, you start to feel free, clear, and open to attract and open to meet. It's like you're becoming a flower that is not harsh and hard anymore. You're soft. You're beautiful, like a feminine flower, and then you're attracting the bees. And bees are our masculine man. And if you're in a relationship currently, you become so soft that your man become masculine. He wants to protect you. He wants to lead, and he wants to provide and take care of you. Right now, my husband sees that I need the channel. I miss Africa. I love Africa. Our son is already so happy. We found him a school that he loves for the first time. He has community there. He says, you know what? Go to South Africa. Go with your friends. Do the thing that you want. Help kids, help wildlife. We'll be fine. So I'm going for 2 weeks to South Africa. And this is possible only when you fully surrender to Creator. As you continue to soften up, your man becomes even more masculine. And he wants to scratch your back to make sure that you are happy. You're happy on emotional level, on physical, on the sexual, on the spiritual level, on all levels, because you are just like two people who have each other's back. And that's what's possible. But this is possible to your daily practices, spiritual practices. And don't start with 1 hour. Start with just 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Wake up 5 minutes earlier. Before you go to bed, just 5 minutes to Creator. That's all you gotta start with. And then it will naturally, once you're gonna get taste, this bliss, that happiness, that love that Creator gives you, it is the most beautiful feeling that you would want more. You would want more of that love. That love your husband and your child will be able to give it to you. It only through Creator. And then you would want naturally to do meditation or prayer for 10 minutes. And then naturally to 15 and 20 minutes. And then naturally to 45 minutes. But to get from 5 minutes to 45 minutes, it will take you probably a year. And it's okay. There's no rush to it. I remember when I got the taste of Creator, I got like a child, so hungry. I started doing meditation for 45 minutes. And guess what? After 4 months, I stopped doing it altogether for 3 months because I overate. I kind of indulge myself with it. So that's not a good idea. Don't do that. Naturally. That's why all of the gurus are saying naturally increase the timing. Otherwise, and then stop. So I've experienced it all. Ladies.
Thank you so much. That was really helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome, Stephanie. You're welcome.
I feel like I do that with meditation a lot, where I like overindulge and then have to stop for a little bit and then come back so I'll take that.
Yeah. And that's why you gotta find right now what's natural to you. Is it 7 or 10 minutes or is it 15? And you do that until naturally it's gonna get to 18 minutes and then naturally to 20 and 25 minutes. It's all good.
Question.
Go ahead, Edith.
I think from what I had shared earlier about trying to find myself, there was a lecture you were supposed to teach some time back that we were not able to, because I think for me it's a matter of what is it that I can do? Who am I? You know, like I want to find something that I can actually stick to and know who I am, what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses, because I can't find that anywhere else apart from when I'm trained by people, because naturally or in the environment that I'm in, like my family is not like it's not the healthiest family. Like it's not like I have no idea what it means to have a healthy family with a good relationship. But I feel like if there's a way I can know what is it, like what's my purpose? Am I good at teaching? What am I good at? Like, because I want to find what I'm good at early on so that I can start working on it and build on it, because I do not want to drain myself in future and trying to do things that are going to burn me out and all that. I don't want that in future. So I'm currently trying to find myself and knowing my strengths, my weaknesses, how can I show up to the world. That's why I was so interested with that training that you were supposed to do.
You're talking about human design, right?
Yeah. Human design.
Can you remind me, Edith? Are you generator or manifesting generator?
I was manifesting generator. I can't even remember. I think I was a generator. Yeah.
Well, some of you don't know what Edith is talking about. So there's 5 different types of human designs. So they're reflectors. There are 1% of them. And reflectors are people who are considered to be almost like aliens. They're between creator and earth. They're very in tune with this environment, people. They're next to you. They're not going to even connect to themselves. They're going to be mirroring you. However you act, if you're mean, they'll be mean. If you're kind, they'll be kind. They're mirror of you. They have all of the channels that are clear, white. Then there's manifestors. Manifestors, there's 3 to 5% of them. Manifestors are people who in the past were kings, queens, and rulers. They're supposed to be governors, mayors. They came to rule. Their way of ruling is almost like 3,000 years old. Very rough, very critical. My mother is manifestor. It's like whoever knows Stalin, who was running Soviet Union in 1940s, 1950s, or Mao from China. Very rough, very critical, very tough. Nothing motherly, nothing soft. They don't know how to hug. Their energy is kind of stay away from me. And people are intimidated by them. So these are manifestors. The third type is projectors. Projectors, these are people who have half of their channels are clear, white, and half of them have energy. Projectors are the people who should be sitting on generators' shoulder and telling them what to do. We have Samantha and Gabriella, who is a projector here. They're the ladies who can create such a strong system that will make our group flourish. For the longest time, I've been asking Gabriella, can you help me out? But Gabriella probably was busy and did not understand that this is her natural strength. Projectors are the new type of managers who came into this world much, much later in order to create the systems where education or medical system or the groups will work, because they're soft and they're kind of shining the light on how things should be in life, in a nutshell. Make sense? Then there's the two, and so the projectors, there's 15% of them. Then there's manifesting generators and generators. There's very little difference between them. There's 70% of us are manifesting generator. Edith is manifesting generator. Majority of you either generators or manifesting generators. Our main purpose in life to figure out, why am I here? What is my purpose? And you can see Edith is constantly asking, I'm confused, I'm not sure, because her main thing is to figure out, what is my purpose? Why am I here? And so the projectors are here for us to tell us what is our purpose, what we should do. And when projectors are telling us, they feel happy and fulfilled because they're showing the light to us. And our main goal is to constantly search and look, what is the purpose, and keep trying. And I will tell you, Edith, generators and manifesting generators have a cemetery of unfulfilled projects. Do you know how many projects I've started and I didn't finish? And for generators and manifesting generators, it's okay, because we have a sacred channel here in our belly that constantly dictates us and talks to us. For example, it's very simple. I will tell you, Edith, do you want to come with me to South Africa? And you should listen. It will tell you mm-hmm or mm-mm. And if it's mm-hmm, you got to find a way to come with me to South Africa. Or if it says mm-mm, you shouldn't. It's that simple. That sacred channel in our belly doesn't have logic. It's kind of like a baby that says yay or nay. And in order for manifesting generator and generator to find their purpose, you just gotta ask generator, Edith, do you like to be a teacher? Edith, answer.
Yeah. Not a teacher, not like a teacher to go in class and teach, but I'd like to talk to people and teach them something.
And you see, if you go to your head, you will be lost, because since the day one, when I see you, you constantly ask great questions. You constantly rely on your head. And so I see you as someone who is teaching. And so you got to explore that. But in order, again, for manifesting generator or generator to understand why they're here, you got to constantly ask them questions that they're going to answer yes or no. Yes or no. Otherwise, projectors will always win. Because if projector and generator or manifestor or reflector talks to generator, they will dominate them. Because manifesting generator and generator really, when it comes to finding the purpose, gotta hear the questions open-ended, yes or no. Make sense?
So does that mean I should rely on my intuition more?
Yes, 100%. Projectors, reflectors, and manifestors don't have that sacred center in their belly. But 70% of us generators and manifesting generators have it very loud. Very, very loud. You are just relying on your head. And the head is helping you to lose the game, basically. It's not helping you. It's helping you to be stuck. And so what I wanted to share also, manifesting generator can start the project for 3-4 weeks. It's like rocket goes up. And then 3-4 weeks later, it realizes, no, it's not my thing. And it could stop. And it's okay. Because manifesting generators and generators, if they go for the project that was not coming from sacred center, they will lose the interest. And so that's why you're so lost. The only thing that I'm never quitting in life is constantly sharing my knowledge and helping difference to Africa, whether it's Kenya, Tanzania, now it's going to be South Africa, and also want to add Zimbabwe. Everything else, I quit because it doesn't come from my sacred channel here in my belly. It was relying on the head. And if we're relying on our head, we lose. For example, if I have to run the social media, I will quit. Because I don't care about social media. I have to have other people who help me with it. It's boring to me. Makes sense? If I have to do anything else, sooner or later I will quit. But if you listen to your intuition as generators and manifesting generator, you will win. And so the point is to wait and listen when that will tell you, do it. Otherwise, you will be going zigzagging right and left, and it's okay for manifesting generators and generators to do that. It's our part of our DNA, part of our journey.
Is that like that feeling, like in the Christian sense, they say like that's the Holy Spirit talking to you?
You see? And in most of the spirituality, it also says that's where you connect to soul. And in Christianity, Holy Spirit. Absolutely. However, for projectors, manifestors, and reflectors, there's only, again, 20% of them, 25. They cannot rely on that. They have other channels that are working for them. But for generators, it's 70% of us. We gotta 100% rely only on that. And that's why it's important to know, are you reflector, are you manifestor, are you projector? And there's 8 types of projectors, by the way. But their main purpose, they came to navigate the system. The manifestors, like Stalin's type of manager and ruling, really hurted people. And so projectors came just thousands of years ago in order to help to create the systems that will help. So at some point, either Gabrielle or Samantha gotta help us with creating a good system. I'm not good at that.
I love good systems.
You see, that's natural to Gabrielle and Samantha. They're projectors, and they're shining the light on us. They see something that we won't be able as generators and manifesting generators to see. I'm manifesting generator 3-5. Do you know what that means? 5, I'll be talking to big crowds, and 3, I will be constantly making mistakes in order to see this is not it, this is not it, this is not it, this is not it. And so I'm zigzagging life, but at the same time, I'm collecting so much experiences in order later to share it with the 5, with the crowd. And that's my journey in life. And so each generator, manifesting generator, projector, reflector has also numbers. And numbers makes a big difference. If you're 1, you constantly will be learning. My son is a reflector. There's only 1% of them. He's hungry about learning. And then he goes on social media. He's only 8 years old. He posts a video and guess how many views he gets? At this point, 9.5 million views. He's natural at that. Communicator, and plus learns whatever he learns. He puts all the attention on learning that one subject, and then boom, to him it's a natural. And so we all have those natural gifts, but we need to learn what they are. And so at some point, I would love to lead this program called Human Design, where we'll go in depth in who you are. What is your human design? What is your weaknesses and your strengths? And that's what Edith was asking. So I hope I didn't overwhelm you with a lot of new information that you didn't know about. All right, more questions, ladies.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Edith. You're welcome.
How can I be in my feminine energy while being a single mom?
Dina, thank you. Thank you. Really good question. And I get this question at least once a month on the social media. The only way you can start connecting to your femininity is like the same way to everyone else, is waking up 5 minutes earlier. What happens is when you're gonna do a little prayer or a little meditation, it adds up every day as you're doing either affirmation, prayer, or meditation. It's like, imagine first you're this masculine and have a little bit of femininity, this much. It's not a lot. But every time you're putting the prayer, the drop's gonna start increasing. And let me show you that in 6 months, it's gonna be already this much. And when there's this much of femininity and spirituality in you, beautiful things starts to happen. Either you're gonna find a job where you're gonna work part-time, but making the same income, or you're gonna be feminine enough to attract a man who would want to take responsibility over you and will propose to you, one or another. Or you will start your own business where you will work only 2-3 hours a day and making the same income. One, second, or the third. But if you're asking how without putting the work, nothing gonna change. Because here it's the action is important. How much time you're gonna put daily into doing either prayer, meditation, or affirmation. The more you're gonna put time, but don't do more than 15 minutes, like I said in the beginning, so you can get to at least this. And this will take you probably between 6 to 8 months. Not bad thing. Not a bad thing. Because first 3 months, Creator helps us. He opens the door for you to see, oh, you're attracting more feminine women, or you're attracting more masculine men, or you have an opportunity to ask for a raise, or to start looking for a different job. He starts opening the door for you, just to show you he has your back. So it's a beautiful space. And I've met so many single moms who've gone through that space and who are dating now. They're not yet married, but they're dating good men who are helping them financially. And they're also single moms.
Thank you, Madam.
You're welcome.
Yes.